is not DJ Ash Noble here. It is a wounded soldier. You're probably thinking, what the hell has happened to you? So before we get onto today's stream, I will just explain what's kind of happened. So some of you, you might be aware, but you might just not be aware to the full extent. But basically, about a month ago, I started to get a little lump on sort of like on my neck. It was like right under the jaw, and it's like we didn't really know what it was. It was like a little lump. It was kind of like where you're kind of rubbing and you can feel something there, and you're kind of thinking like, is it a lump? And then you're feeling the other side and thinking, is that a little lump coming? And it was a little lump coming, and the little lump turned out to turn into a big lump, and the lump got bigger, and then it kind of like went down a bit, and then it got bigger, and then it got absolutely massive yesterday, and I was in a whole world of pain last night. It came like really sort of like painful, sort of at night. It got to like I think it just got to a certain point where it had just like blown up and it had just got big, and then sort of from that point it obviously just kind of really didn't work. And it was kind of like catching on like if I was sort of looking down, it was kind of catching on like the other part of my skin, and it was kind of like just getting in the way, and it also felt like so the pain wasn't like a pain where you could say like I was in agony, but it was kind of a pain where like it almost felt like I was carrying something that was quite heavy, and it was weighing the side of my face down. So it kind of felt like there was something massive on my face that was weighing down, and it was more than like actually being like really like painful. It was more annoying. Like it did start to hurt like yesterday, as I said, but the main part of it was like it was more annoying. So over the past couple of months, we've been to like different walk-in centres. We've been to pharmacists. We've been to hospitals. So when I was on holiday in the Isle of Man, we first went to a pharmacist, and they said, you need to go to a hospital when you get back home off your holiday. So we did that, and then they first sort of had a little bit of a check and a look at me, and they said it's infected. Take some penicillin for it. So I was taking this penicillin, and the penicillin just did not work. So when the penicillin didn't work and the lump was still there, and we couldn't really tell if it was really going down, and then looked a little bit like it was getting a bit bigger again. So my nan said, look, get yourself to the walk-in centre on Friday. So Friday I spent all day in the walk-in centre to essentially be told it was a cyst, and the proper doctor needs to see it at your GP. And we tried sort of ringing up the GP, and everything like that just failed, and we ended up on the phone with the 111, who just basically directed us to another walk-in centre, who was just basically going to say the same thing. And when we said sort of like I've been to the other walk-in centre today, they kind of just cut to the chase and saved us the hassle of sat around waiting to find out the sort of like the actual issue of what had gone on. And then we was gonna obviously like try and get into the GP like first thing on Monday morning. I was gonna go back to my old GP at Driffield and see if I could still get in there. And then my nan had the idea that because it had obviously got worse overnight last night and it had been aching, that we'd go to the Hull Royal instead. And we finally went to the Hull Royal, and that was finally where we got a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, if you like. So we arrived there, and I went to the counter, and they sort of as soon as they saw the sort of like lump, the cyst. There was quite concerned themselves, so they quickly rang somebody to come down to see me to check this cyst. So I think we only waited about sort of probably about 5-10 minutes at the most, and we saw the first person, which was really good. There was I gotta say, there was really nice, there was polite, there was really quick, because it did say there could be a wait of up to like 6 hours, and at first I thought this is going to be just like another walk-in centre where they'll just tell me that they're gonna go to the doctors or something, after sort of like being sat for 6 hours. But he saw me really quick, and then he sort of had a little bit of a chat with me, and I explained a little bit about what's been going on, kind of thing, and then it had just sort of overnight started to cause pain, and he said, yeah, it looks nasty, all the rest of it. And he organised for me more or less straight away to go and have an x-ray. So I obviously went into an x-ray room, and the x-rayed to see how deep the cyst had gone, and obviously got the x-ray results back, and we went back and waited in the waiting room, and I think we probably waited again about maybe 10-15 minutes at the most, and then they called us in, and I laid on a chair, the chair bed thing, and they dosed me up with anaesthetic, and they essentially cut into the cyst, and they drained like loads of the juice out, and then they like stitched it up and sort of put this dressing on it, which this dressing, I've got to say, like, I do not like it one bit. Like, it's a complete pain, because it really doesn't like the fact that I've got a beard, because when I had the cyst, I couldn't shave. It was hurting, like, when I was trying to shave, so I couldn't shave. So the dressing, for starters, doesn't like the beard, and then the second thing is the dressing really doesn't like the warm weather as well. The sweatiness is like also pulling the dressing off, so like down here it's like it's not sticking at all because of the hairs and the sweatiness of like being so warm today. So I've got this dressing, and I've got to keep this on until Tuesday morning, and I've got to keep taking some medication as well. I can't remember what it's called, but I've got to take it like once. I've got to take 3 times a day, sort of like they say every 8 hours. And it just looks like a paracetamol, but it's not a paracetamol. And then on Tuesday they're gonna remove the dressing, and they're gonna have a look and see how it's healing, and possibly if it's doing well, they'll remove the stitching. And if the stitching can be removed, then obviously that's obviously a good thing, because it's on the mend, because it's on the great mend, which is fantastic. It's amazing. It's what it's obviously, again, it feels like there's light at the end of the tunnel. So if you're wondering why I'm sat here with a great big, almost like a massive bit of tissue sort of like sellotape to the side of me face, you obviously now know why. And another annoying thing is as well is it's quite itchy, like especially around here. Like it doesn't like the beard, full stop, and it's just sort of been like really itchy. Like I kind of wish in sense like I could just cut all this excess bit off here and just keep it like here, but obviously I've got to do what the doctor said, and if I don't want to obviously ruin any chance of it recovering and healing, so I've got to obviously do what he says. It's just a pain because it's itching. So anyway, on to the topic of today's stream. I've upgraded the decks. Yeah, I've upgraded the decks. And I'm actually proper like super buzzed to announce this, because this is going to help me in an absolutely tons of different ways that is just really good for me. So the decks, you're probably thinking, right, well, what's the score? Where are they? Well, I haven't got them yet, and I think all being well, I'm going to possibly be picking them up tomorrow. So that'll be a really exciting thing. I can't wait to get them. So a while ago, well, while I was on holiday, my a friend of mine announced and advertised that he was selling his, and he was selling an XDJ RX1. So he was selling like the RX1, which is a really nice controller. You know, if you've not used RX1s, I've been very fortunate enough to go on this very RX on a couple of occasions, so I do know how it works. I have used it myself, and I've also used it at events as well, because it's what they've used in the second room for stomping. So it's you know, it's something that I'm already sort of familiar with, and he advertised on Facebook that he was selling this, and the moment that he advertised he was selling it, of course I was interested, but the prices of RXs are just absolutely sky high, you know, and rightly so, because you know they're high quality equipment. I mean, Pioneer don't mess around when it comes to decks, and these have the built-in screens in them, and these are standalone, which is absolutely perfect for me, because I'm not relying on the I'm not relying on the, what do you call it? I'm not relying on the computer. So when it comes to like doing the gigs, like the weddings, when it comes to doing the other bits and bobs, it's just absolutely fantastic that I've just got this like big all-in-one unit, and I can just cram it with absolutely loads of music, and it's going to be really good in that sense. So my mate was obviously selling it, and like I say, I was interested from the off, but the price was obviously a little bit too sky high for me. And then yesterday kind of happened. So yesterday I was going about enjoying my evening, apart from the big old cyst, and I got a message from a woman, and it was like a reminder, like, was I still good to do a gig on the 29th of September? And I suddenly remembered, oh yeah, I'm doing like a Clubland night in your pub, and they're playing like Clubland and dance anthems. And I thought, yeah, I'm still down to do that. I'm looking forward to it. And then I thought, shit, actually, what am I going to do about the decks? So I had some options. My options were, like, I just told the woman, you know, I can't do the gig. You know, the equipment's kind of gone kaboom, and sort of like, you know, there's nothing I can do, kind of thing. Sorry, and lose out on the money for doing the gig. And the second option was to try and find some way of like being able to salvage the gig. You know, was there a way that I could still do it? Could I take the little controller that I use from work? You know, could I take one of them, the little DDJ 200s? And I thought, they're all right, but then again, I don't have a laptop, so then it's like, well, you've got to take the what do you call it? You've got to take the computer, because I don't have a laptop. So that just created some issues in itself. And then I had a look on the possibility of, well, could I hire some decks? And then hiring decks was just like, it was another issue in itself, because you had to drive somewhere and pick them up, and they were really proper, like really funny about, like, you know, if you hire them and if there's like a mark and a scratch on them, you know, like you have to pay for that. So if you're carrying it and, you know, you in a case or whatever, and you know, even the case just like catches on the corner of a wall or something, you know, you just, you know, you're absolutely screwed in that sense. And that's obviously, you know, something that's just a big issue in itself. And I'm not always too keen on like using other people's equipment, especially for things like that, because I know yourself, like when you do this kind of thing, you know, like if someone wanted to, you know, ask me and said, look, can I use your equipment to do a party, like whether you hire them or not, you know, you've got that kind of like, oh, I don't know, you know, what would I really want somebody else like taking my expensive controller, you know, and bashing around on the buttons, and you know, probably knocking it on a wall, or the possibility of, you know, of like a drink spilling on it. You know, when it's your own, obviously it's still gutting, and you don't want to bash it and knock it and spill a drink on it, but at least it's your own, and you haven't got that worry of dropping somebody a message or a phone call and saying, look, I'm ever so sorry, but a drink sustained on the left jog wheel, and blah blah blah, and then you've got to pay for that. And then by the time you've messed around with all that, like, you could have probably just bought one. So I went, so I had a little chat downstairs and said, look, I've got this issue and I've got this problem. How am I, is there a way I can obviously salvage and do this gig? And obviously, if I had to cancel the gig, I would have done it, but like, I wouldn't have wanted to do it, because obviously it's do you know what I mean, it's something that you don't want to do, because it's losing money and it's letting people down. And then it's also the fact that it puts them off wanting to ask you again, because they think, well, if he's not going to turn up or he's not going to make it, there's no point asking him. So I had a little chat downstairs, and a friend of my mum's, he offered to get them for me, which was obviously very very, very nice. I'm obviously forever grateful, because not only for the gig side of things, but I did really badly need an upgrade, and this is a hell of an upgrade for me. This is a game changer for me, and this is going to solve so many issues that I've been currently having, and it's just going to be absolutely amazing. And one thing that I'm really looking forward to is obviously these decks, they work with Rekordbox analyzing. So if I'm putting a set together on Rekordbox for a gig, so if I'm playing an event and I'm putting a set together, I can essentially analyze the tracks to the USB stick, and I can put them in the decks at home, and I can go over the full set, so I can play the set at home without having to sort of play it by just sat at the computer and clicking the mouse, or using this little DDJ. So that was kind of in a lot of sense, that was like an amazing thing for me. That was like a game changer, that now I know that if I'm putting a set together for a gig, that I can just go over the tunes and the set, and I can play the set at home, and and I can play the analyzed playlist and the analyzed folder, and it'll play it in the order that I want to play it at the set as well. And if I've got any like queries and worries about wondering if the USB stick's going to load on the decks when I get to the club, if they're going to load on the decks at home, they're probably going to load on the decks in the club, because if it's all like analyzed Pioneer stuff, then it's going to be good. So it's going to help me massively in that way. Plus, I'm going to have effects and things on the mixer, which is going to be a game changer for me when I'm even when I'm just like recording mixes and stuff. It's going to be a game changer, because I use the DDJ at the moment to record mixes, and don't get me wrong, I've recorded some really nice mixes and I've enjoyed doing them, but it's not the same as like being stood at a proper like big pair of decks. And at least this way I ain't going to have all the like crackly phono wires, and it's just going to help me massively. So I'm really buzzed that I've got the opportunity to get this this RX1. And my friend who was selling it, he obviously hadn't sold it when I asked him if it was still for sale, and he said although he's selling it, he's not like in a mega rush to sell it. Like, he'd rather like sell it to somebody who like actually really wants it and who's going to look after it, and someone who's going to pay like what it's worth, and not someone who's obviously gonna say like, oh, do as it for 700, or do as it for 650, that kind of thing. He's not like in that desperate rush to sell it that he'd take a stupid low offer for it. So he was like, look, if I have to keep it, I have to keep it. And at first I was was a little bit like, well, look, I'm interested. There's a possibility that I would want to buy this, blah blah blah, and I'll let you know. And then within a couple of hours, I told him, I said, look, yeah, I'm gonna get this 100%. So I think tomorrow I'm gonna possibly go and pick it up, because sort of after tomorrow, like the week starts up for me again. So like tomorrow night I'm at the Polar Bear, and then sort of like everything sort of from there on just sort of like spirals, and I get back into the week, and my mate goes to college and stuff, and then he goes away at the weekend. And to be honest, I'm quite excited. Like, imagine knowing you've got an RX but you can't play with it. Like, it's, I'm always like, when it comes to this kind of stuff, like I really can't wait. Like I'd go and get them now if I could. Like that's how excited I am. In that sense, like I remember once ages ago, I bought them Sony turntables off my friend Dave, and he was like, do you want to come through, and do you want to come round and pick them up, and stuff like that. And I was just like, I could have waited to pick them up, but I was just so excited. And I think at the time I nagged someone to like help me get, like, oh, please, like, help me get a taxi there, blah blah blah. Let me get a taxi there. Let me go and pick it up, and let me come back in a taxi, or whatever it was. And I was just proper like excited and buzzed, to obviously get them. And it was amazing at the time. It was just an absolutely amazing feeling to get them. But because I was so excited to have them, to finally have some proper vinyl turntables for the first time, it was a really exciting feeling. And I just couldn't wait to get them. Even though I could have waited, like they weren't going anywhere, it was like, no, I want them here now. I want to start playing on them. And that's kind of how I sort of feel with the RX. So hopefully I'll be able to pick them up tomorrow, and we'll take it from there. And they're going to come in a flight case as well, so they're going to come in a carrying case, which is really good, really nice. They are really heavy as well. I did we was coming back from a stomping once, and I did just happen to carry the RX from inside the club just to the outside of the club, ready for the taxi coming at the end of the night. And I do remember that they are quite heavy, so it's not something that I would definitely want to be like carting on a bus, because it'd be far too heavy. And there's no way that I'd carry it from the train station all the way up Hanleby Road. There's just no way I'd do it. It'd be like obviously be a really annoying thing. So but yeah, so I've upgraded the decks. So obviously once I do get the decks, and once I've sort of got them back here, I'll be doing some like live streams and videos, and I'll unbox it and stuff. Like I'll take it out the flight case, and and we'll have a look at it, and we'll plug it in, and all that kind of stuff. And I can't wait to get on it and have a mix. That's gonna be an amazing thing within itself. So yeah, it's definitely exciting. I'm obviously buzzed that I can make the gig as well. That was a good thing. So I can make the gig. I'm gonna have to go and select like some of the best tunes for that gig, like because they want all like dance and clubland, and they want like anthems and stuff, and well known like classic sing-alongs, not necessarily hardbound. So they want the more sort of like clublandy sort of side of bounce, and stuff like that. And it's just going to be me sort of like playing all night long, sort of DJing all night long. And then I think Lehman might be possibly doing it with me if he's free on the day. If not, I might see if somebody else wants to just do it with me, and then obviously I'll throw in the cash, a bit of cash for him being there and helping me, and we'll just see how it goes. But you can see again, look, this where it's coming off. It doesn't like the beard, and it doesn't like the sweat. Being in like a really sweaty environment doesn't like it. So it's a little bit of a pain. But yeah, so it's all exciting on the deck front. I'm looking forward to it, absolutely. Cannot wait for it. yeah, so like I say, I'll be doing lots of videos, lots of content when it comes out. I've been on them before. Like I said, I've been on them like endless times, so I know how they work. I can mix on them. I know what pretty much most of the buttons do. So that is obviously like that is obviously a good thing in itself. It's not like jumping on something kind of foreign, but then again, like if you know how to mix, like you can more or less mix on everything. Like when I went to my friend's house on Friday and used his brand new FLX10, I didn't struggle to mix on it, and that's not me trying to sound like big-headed, but a lot of people see like a bigger controller or something different with more buttons, and they panic thinking I'm not going to be able to use it. But one thing that all controllers and all decks will have is a jog wheel, a Q button, a play button, a crossfader, volume buttons, mid, lows and highs, and they're essentially what you need. They're like the basics of what you need to mix. So queuing the track up, playing the track, moving the jog wheel, and then moving the pitch fader, moving either the crossfader or the volume fader, adjusting the mid, lows and highs, and that's sort of the basic of what goes into beat matching. The other buttons are just more for like effects and stuff, like you want to add flanger or you want to create loops or anything like that you want to create is obviously a good thing. It's just it's a bonus, it's an advantage. And people look at them and they think, oh, it's not like the one I use at home. And in all fairness, it's just exactly the same as the one you use at home. It's just got like different effects buttons, and the controller can do different things, but the way you perform a basic mix on it is just completely the same, and it always baffles me. But I can understand in some sense, like looking at something new and there's all these extra buttons and you're thinking, oh my god, how does this one work? But if you do know the basics of beat matching, which sadly some people don't. Sadly, some people do just rely on what the screen's telling them, and if the screen's matching up the waveforms they're in beat. And if you stick someone on like a pair of CDJs where you haven't got the waveforms to match, or you stick them on some vinyl, they're absolutely no good at it, which is a bit of a shame, and not everybody can do it, and obviously not everybody can pick it up. And like I can mix vinyl, as you've obviously seen on this channel before, but I'm not always the best at it, and there's plenty of times on vinyl mixes where I've completely messed it up and I've completely gone out of beat. It's not an easy thing. And when people say like what the DJs do, or they just press buttons, there's more to it than just pressing buttons, and there's a lot of there's a lot of work that goes into DJing. It's not just standing there pressing buttons and playing music. If you want to do that, go and turn your radio and CD player on and go through your Aqua album. Do you know what I mean? Like DJing is a whole different level of like a skill in itself, to get the beats in time, to get the tunes right, to keep the momentum with the crowd, to make yourself interesting. So when you go up there, what are you going to do that's going to make you stand out from the other DJ that's just been up there? How are you going to make people enjoy your night? Are you going to be able to keep the level that the last DJ kept? The last DJ kept a good level. Are you able to follow on from that level and then raise the bar? Or are you going to come on and just absolutely kill the level that other DJ had? And that's a big part of what DJing is about as well. You're entertaining a crowd. And if you're entertaining the crowd and the crowd are happy and they're dancing and they're cheering and they like what you're playing, that right there is half of the battle done. You've done half of the battle there. So yeah. So I've upgraded, and like I say, I should hopefully be picking them up tomorrow. So we'll be making some videos, we'll be doing some bits and bobs. Quick little production update. So my remixer Played Alive, that got signed to Excite Digital. That comes out this Friday, so I'm looking forward to that. It's coming out this Friday, and you'll be able to buy it on the store. And I know there's I know there's a couple of people that are already like looking forward to it releasing, and a couple of people that are already going to buy it. So that's obviously a good thing in itself. And then we just follow on with the other tracks, and I'll be making some remixes as well for this gig on the 29th. I'll be doing something for that as well. I'm gonna try and make a few sort of like Clublandy sort of style tunes as well. I think. That might sound quite good. So we'll sort of see how it goes, and I might sort of make a little bit of a Clubland sort of style track. We'll see. And just sort of see how it goes. So make sure to like, comment, share, and we'll see you soon, hopefully with the new decks.